The Mauna Kea Observatory's night shift was usually quiet. Dr. Elena Santos preferred it that way. Just her, the stars, and the gentle hum of cooling systems keeping the sensitive equipment at optimal temperature. That's why the rapid beeping from her quantum detection array was so jarring. "That can't be right," she muttered, adjusting her glasses as she studied the readout. The array was detecting quantum entanglement signatures unlike anything she'd ever seen, and they were coming from deep within the Pacific Ocean. She reached for her secure phone, the one given to her by the Global Defense Initiative, when the entire observatory plunged into darkness. The backup generators kicked in immediately, but something was wrong. Instead of the usual yellow emergency lighting, the facility was bathed in an otherworldly blue glow. Elena's phone buzzed, not the secure one, but her personal device. The screen showed hundreds of similar reports flooding in from observatories and research stations across the Pacific Rim. Half a world away, in a hidden facility beneath the Pentagon, General Marcus Chen stared at a holographic display showing the Pacific Ocean. Dozens of red dots pulsed across the map, each representing a quantum anomaly. "How long?" he asked the room of analysts and scientists. 16 hours until the defense grid fully activates," Dr. Sarah White responded, her fingers dancing across multiple holographic interfaces. "We always knew this day would come, but the timing..." She let the thought hang unfinished. "The timing is exactly right," Chen replied grimly. "They're coming, aren't they?" Sarah nodded, pulling up another display showing deep space telemetry. "The harvesters, just like the warning told us they would. The defense grid is responding to their approach." The warning. In 1908, what the world thought was a meteor strike in Tunguska was actually humanity's first contact with an advanced alien civilization. But they hadn't come to greet us. They'd come to prepare us. The visitors left behind a network of quantum-linked defense platforms buried in Earth's oceans, along with a message. "They will come to reap. You must be ready." For over a century, a select few had known the truth. The Tunguska event wasn't a warning of doom. It was a gift of hope. The visitors had seen potential in humanity, potential that needed time and pressure to develop. They'd left behind technology beyond human understanding, but not beyond human ingenuity to reverse engineer. "Begin Operation Legacy," Chen commanded. Around the world, hidden facilities began powering up. Quantum computers that had been secretly processing alien algorithms for decades increased their calculations. In secure bunkers beneath every major city, sleeping giants stirred. Elena Santos wasn't just an astronomer. She was part of the Legacy program, a global initiative to prepare humanity for this very moment. As she watched the quantum signatures increase across the Pacific, she knew her real work was about to begin. In orbit, the International Space Station's crew watched in awe as the Pacific Ocean began to glow with an ethereal light. Commander Yuki Tanaka knew what it meant. She was also part of Legacy. "Begin transmission," she ordered, and the ISS's quantum communication array powered up, connecting with the ancient defense grid below. The harvesters were coming, just as the warning had predicted. They moved between stars like locusts, stripping planets of resources and leaving dead worlds in their wake. But Earth had been preparing. For over a century, humanity had lived like mice beneath the floorboards, appearing primitive and vulnerable, while secretly building something unprecedented. A hybrid defense system combining alien quantum technology with human innovation. General Chen walked to the center of the command room, his voice steady as he addressed the gathered personnel. "For 5 generations, we've carried this burden in secret. We've watched our people dream of the stars while knowing the nightmare that awaited us there. But we're ready now." The holographic display showed the defense grid's power signature growing stronger. Across the Pacific, massive structures were rising from the ocean depths. Structures that combined the quantum manipulation technology of their alien benefactors with humanity's unique approach to warfare. "The harvesters expect to find a primitive world, ripe for conquest," Chen continued. Instead, they'll find the trap we've spent a century preparing. Humanity won't just survive first contact. We'll reshape the very nature of what it means to be a spacefaring civilization. As if in response to his words, the quantum signatures spiked. Deep beneath the waves, ancient machines awakened, their purpose finally at hand. The defense grid was online, but it wasn't just a shield. It was humanity's first step into a larger universe. Elena Santos watched the stars through her observatory's telescope one last time before the facility began its transformation. Soon, it would become one of thousands of control nodes for Earth's hybrid defense system. The quiet night she'd enjoyed was over, but a new dawn was approaching, one that would show the galaxy that humanity had never been as vulnerable as they appeared. The game of deception was ending. The real war was about to begin. Exposure protocol initiated, Dr. Sarah Way announced, watching as holographic displays across the command center shifted from standard frequencies to quantum-based communications. Defense grid convergence at 30% and rising. Throughout the Pacific, what appeared to be simple research buoys and underwater monitoring stations began to change. Quantum-engineered metamaterials shifted and flowed like liquid metal, revealing their true nature. Decades of carefully maintained camouflage dissolved as humanity's hidden arsenal awakened. In the Mariana Trench, the largest of these transformations was underway. What had been disguised as an abandoned deep-sea mining operation revealed itself as the nerve center of Earth's defense network. Commander Jessica Chen, daughter of General Marcus Chen, stood at its heart, surrounded by technology that blended human innovation with alien quantum mechanics. "Status report," she ordered, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. The command center's walls seemed to ripple as quantum displays materialized, showing the positions of approaching harvester vessels. "Quantum shielding at maximum capacity," her XO, Commander Rajpatal, reported. "The harvester's long-range scans will still show Earth as a pre-spaceflight civilization. Deep space arrays are tracking 12 harvest ships. Estimated arrival in 15 hours. Jessica nodded, her mind racing through the countless simulations they'd run for this moment. The harvesters had a pattern. They always sent the same number of ships, used the same approach vectors, followed the same protocols. Their predictability was their weakness. "Begin Phase 2, she commanded. Around the world, hidden facilities powered up secondary systems that had been dormant for decades. The quantum defense grid wasn't just a shield. It was a web, each node capable of bending space-time in ways that would make Einstein weep. In orbit, Commander Tanaka and her ISS crew initiated their part of the operation. The space station's seemingly primitive solar panels reconfigured, revealing quantum communication arrays that had been hiding in plain sight. To any observer, they would appear to be simple solar collection devices. In reality, they were part of humanity's most ambitious deception. "Quantum entanglement network stable," Tanaka reported, ready to coordinate with surface installations. Back in the Pentagon, General Chen received the updates with grim satisfaction. 5 generations, he murmured. 5 generations of keeping the biggest secret in human history. He turned to Dr. Wei. "Show me the harvester fleet." The holographic display shifted, showing 12 massive ships moving through the outer solar system. Each was the size of a small moon, bristling with technology that could strip a planet bare in days. They moved with absolute confidence, their sensors detecting nothing but radio waves and primitive satellites around their target. "They're following the exact pattern the warning showed us," Sarah noted, comparing the harvester's approach to centuries-old alien data, "just like every other world they've harvested." But Earth wasn't like other worlds. The warning hadn't just given humanity advance notice. It had given them a playbook. The mysterious benefactors who'd visited in 1908 had seen something in humanity that made them break their non-interference protocols. They'd provided the tools, but it was human ingenuity that had transformed those tools into something unprecedented. Deep beneath the Pacific, Commander Chen watched as the quantum defense grid reached full power. The ancient alien technology had been impressive, but limiting. It was humanity's modifications that made it truly formidable. Where the original system had been purely defensive, humans had added layers of offensive capabilities that operated on principles the harvesters had never encountered. They expect to find a primitive species cowering behind radio telescopes, Jessica told her crew. Instead, they'll find the product of a century of human adaptation and innovation. We took their quantum technology and did what humans do best. We made it do things its creators never imagined possible. The defense grid's power signature continued to rise, but thanks to the quantum camouflage, the approaching harvesters detected nothing. Earth still appeared to be a technological infant, barely able to reach its own moon. The trap was almost ready. In her observatory, Elena Santos monitored the quantum fluctuations with growing excitement. The pattern was pure poetry, human improvisation layered over alien precision. "It's working," she reported. "The grid is fully powered, but completely masked. As far as they can tell, we're still broadcasting reality TV shows and launching chemical rockets." The harvesters drew closer, their massive ships already passing Mars. They had harvested countless worlds, following the same pattern each time. Approach, overwhelm, strip, and move on. They had never failed, never encountered meaningful resistance. They had never needed to adapt or innovate. That was about to change. Humanity had spent a century preparing not just their defenses, but their mindset. They weren't planning to simply survive first contact. They were planning to revolutionize the very nature of interstellar warfare. "All stations, maintain quantum camouflage," General Chen ordered. "Let them come closer. Let them think they know exactly what they're dealing with." He smiled grimly. "It's time to show the galaxy why those visitors chose us." The trap was set. In 15 hours, the harvesters would learn what humanity had spent 5 generations preparing to teach them. That sometimes, the most dangerous predator is the one that learns to play prey. The harvesters' advance fleet entered lunar orbit with the confidence of apex predators. Their massive ships cast shadows across the moon's surface, each vessel bristling with harvest arms, designed to strip planets of resources in days. Their initial scans showed exactly what they expected: a primitive civilization, barely able to maintain a few crude satellites. In the Mariana Command Center, Commander Jessica Chen watched the enemy's approach through quantum-enhanced displays. "They're following the harvest protocol exactly as the warning predicted," she reported, beginning standard intimidation broadcast. Right on schedule, the harvester ships began transmitting a signal that overwhelmed Earth's conventional communications. Every television, radio, and digital display on the planet flickered to life, showing the same message in every human language: "Your resources are claimed. Resistance will only increase your suffering." General Chen's voice came through the quantum calm and steady. "Execute Operation Trojan." Around the world, carefully orchestrated chaos erupted. Military forces scrambled aircraft in disorganized patterns. Governments issued panicked statements. Social media exploded with conspiracy theories and doomsday predictions. To the harvesters' sensors, it looked like exactly what they expected: a primitive species in panic. "Harvester command ship is moving into low Earth orbit," Commander Tanaka reported from the ISS. "They're positioning for atmospheric insertion, just like the warning showed us." The lead harvester vessel, a behemoth larger than Manhattan, began its descent toward the Pacific. Its sensors detected nothing unusual about the ocean below, just kilometers of dark water hiding simple marine life. The quantum camouflage held perfectly, masking the most sophisticated defense network ever created. "They're within the primary engagement zone," Jessica announced. "All stations, prepare for Phase 3. She turned to Commander Patel. "Status of the quantum web." "Fully charged and masked," he replied. "Waiting for your command." The harvester ship descended to 30 kilometers above the ocean's surface, its harvest arms beginning to unfold. Each arm was kilometers long, designed to plunge into the planet's crust and extract resources with terrifying efficiency. The ship's sensors remained focused on conventional threats. Primitive missiles, nuclear weapons, anything a pre-spaceflight civilization might try. They weren't looking for quantum anomalies. They had no reason to. Execute Phase 3, General Chen ordered. In an instant, the Pacific Ocean seemed to come alive. The quantum web, hidden beneath the waves, activated. But instead of attacking directly, it did something the harvesters had never encountered in all their centuries of conquest. It reached into their past. The quantum technology humanity had inherited wasn't just about defense or communication. It could manipulate time itself in small, precise ways. While the harvesters had used quantum technology for brute force resource extraction, humans had spent a century learning its subtleties. Temporal net deployed, Sarah Way reported from the Pentagon. Beginning chrono disruption. The harvester ship suddenly found itself fighting against its own history. Every movement it had made in the past hour began to loop and tangle. The quantum web wasn't just stopping it. It was turning its own momentum against it. The massive vessel shuddered as temporal paradoxes cascaded through its structure. By all means, Jessica transmitted on an open channel, letting the harvesters hear human voices for the first time. Please continue your approach. We've only been practicing this moment for 100 years. The harvester ship's response was predictable. It fired its main weapons, energy beams capable of cutting through planetary crusts. But the quantum web caught the energy and fed it into a temporal loop, creating a cascade of cause and effect that turned the attack back on itself. In orbit, the other harvester ships began to respond, but they were already caught in humanity's wider trap. The ISS, along with thousands of seemingly primitive satellites, activated their own quantum systems. Space itself seemed to thicken around the alien vessels as overlapping temporal fields restricted their movements. "They're trying to quantum jump out," Tanaka reported, watching as the harvester ships attempted to flee using their own version of quantum technology. Executing containment protocol. The quantum web didn't just trap the harvesters, it began to teach them about humanity's version of warfare. Each attempt to escape was met with a different response. Each defense revealed another layer of innovation. The aliens found themselves fighting an enemy that had spent generations preparing not just weapons, but strategies they had never imagined. "Send the message," General Chen ordered. Around the world, quantum transmitters activated, sending a single signal to the trapped harvester fleet. It wasn't a demand for surrender or a threat. It was a simple mathematical proof, showing exactly how humanity had modified the quantum technology they'd inherited. It was an invitation to understand just how completely they had been outmaneuvered. 5 generations, Jessica Chen transmitted to the harvester command ship. 5 generations we spent appearing weak, appearing primitive. Want to see what we were really doing with all that time? The Pacific Ocean began to glow with quantum fire as humanity's defense grid fully revealed itself. The real battle was about to begin, and the harvesters were about to learn why those mysterious visitors had chosen humanity as their successors. The age of deception was over. The age of humanity had begun. The harvester ships hung suspended in Earth's orbit, caught in a web of quantum-manipulated space-time that grew more complex with each escape attempt. Their initial confidence had given way to something they had never experienced before: uncertainty. "They're adapting," Dr. Way reported from the Pentagon Command Center, watching as the alien vessels attempted to synchronize their quantum drives, just as the warning predicted they would. General Chen nodded grimly. "Then it's time for Phase 4. Commander Chen, you have authorization to reveal the Lazarus Protocol." Deep beneath the Pacific, Jessica Chen felt a surge of pride. The Lazarus Protocol wasn't just another weapon. It was perhaps humanity's greatest innovation in quantum engineering, and it had started with a simple question: what if quantum entanglement could be used to resurrect the dead? "Initiating Lazarus Protocol," she announced. "All stations, prepare for temporal displacement." Around the world, quantum nodes activated in perfect synchronization. But instead of attacking the harvester ships directly, they began to reach into the wake of destruction the aliens had left across the galaxy. The quantum web wasn't just a defensive network, it was a memorial to every civilization the harvesters had destroyed. Connection established, Commander Petal reported, his voice tight with concentration. We're receiving quantum signatures from 37 harvested worlds. The harvesters' sensors detected something impossible. Echoes of civilizations they had destroyed centuries ago, quantum ghosts rising from the cosmic graveyard they had created. Humanity hadn't just studied the quantum technology they'd inherited, they had found a way to preserve the essence of dead worlds. You see, Jessica transmitted to the harvester fleet, we spent generations asking ourselves why those visitors chose us. Why give primitive humans such advanced technology? The answer was simple, because we would do something like this. The quantum web began to resonate with the combined knowledge and experience of dozens of extinct civilizations. Each had faced the harvesters, each had fallen, but through humanity's quantum archaeology, their final moments had been preserved and studied. Every defeat became a lesson, every loss a strategy to be inverted. In orbit, Commander Tanaka watched as the ISS's quantum arrays synchronized with the planetary defense grid. Temporal concordance achieved, she reported. Beginning collective response. The harvesters found themselves facing not just human innovation, but the accumulated wisdom of every world they had destroyed. Their own quantum technology began to turn against them as centuries of harvested knowledge was repurposed into weapons they had never imagined possible. They're trying to initiate a core collapse, Sarah Way warned, watching as the largest harvester ship began to overload its quantum drive. They'd rather destroy themselves than face defeat. Perfect, General Chen smiled. Commander, execute the final phase of Lazarus. Jessica nodded to her crew. Initiating quantum resurrection field. The ocean began to glow with an otherworldly light as the defense grid channeled power into a single massive quantum manipulation. But instead of attacking the harvesters, it began to restore them. Their attempt at self-destruction was caught in a temporal loop that continuously reset their ships to pristine condition. You can't even die without our permission, Jessica transmitted. That's what true quantum mastery looks like. The harvesters' response came not in weapons fire but in a transmission, the first time they had ever deigned to communicate with a target world. The message was simple. What are you? We're humanity, General Chen replied. We're the species that spent a century pretending to be primitive because we knew it would make you overconfident. We're the civilization that looked at quantum technology and asked not how to make it more powerful, but how to make it more meaningful. Around Earth, the quantum web began to shift, not to attack, but to contain and preserve. The harvester ships found themselves suspended in a field that didn't seek to destroy them, but to understand them. This was humanity's true innovation. They had transformed weapons of war into tools of comprehension. Your choice is simple, Jessica transmitted. You can continue fighting against every civilization you've ever destroyed. Their knowledge and experience now turned against you through our quantum archaeology. Or, she paused, letting the moment stretch. You can learn what happens when humanity decides to teach instead of destroy. The quantum web pulsed with possibility, each node representing not just a weapon but a chance for understanding. The harvesters had spent millennia taking. Now they faced a species that had spent a century learning how to give back. The visitors chose us, General Chen transmitted, because they knew that when humanity finally reached the stars, we wouldn't just change the rules of warfare. We would change the very nature of first contact. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, one that had only known how to take, and one that had learned the power of resurrection. The next moments would determine not just Earth's future, but the future of every world the harvesters had touched. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their quantum technology or their clever deceptions. It was their ability to look at the ashes of dead worlds and see not defeat, but possibility. For the first time in their long history of conquest, the harvesters experienced something new, Transformation. Suspended in humanity's quantum web, their mighty ships hung like insects in amber, while Earth's true power revealed itself not through destruction, but creation. Full quantum archaeology scan complete, Dr. Wei announced, her hands dancing across holographic displays in the Pentagon Command Center. We're receiving coherent data streams from all 37 harvested civilizations. The pattern is emerging. General Chen watched as the quantum web began to display its most ambitious function. Begin the integration protocol, he ordered. Show them what humanity does best. Deep beneath the Pacific, Commander Jessica Chen initiated the sequence they had spent generations preparing. The quantum defense grid wasn't just a weapon or a shield. It was a bridge between what was lost and what could be again. Integration field stabilizing, she reported, beginning civilizational synthesis. The space around Earth illuminated with quantum fire as humanity's greatest innovation activated. They hadn't just preserved the echoes of dead civilizations. They had found a way to weave them together, creating something entirely new. The quantum web began to resonate with the combined knowledge, culture, and wisdom of every world the harvesters had destroyed. To harvest is to take without understanding, Jessica transmitted to the trapped fleet. But humanity, we learn, we adapt, we transform, and most importantly, we remember. The harvester ship's quantum sensors detected something impossible. The civilizations they had destroyed were not just memories or echoes. Through humanity's manipulation of quantum mechanics, they were becoming something more. Each dead world had left behind quantum traces, patterns of thought, and technology the humans had spent a century learning to preserve and combine. Your greatest mistake, Commander Tanaka transmitted from the ISS, was assuming that quantum technology was just a tool for manipulation. We saw it for what it really was, a way to preserve the essence of life itself. The quantum web pulsed with new energy as the integration protocol reached its peak. The harvesters watched in astonishment as their victims' legacies merged with human innovation, creating a synthesis of knowledge and capability that transcended individual civilizations. We could destroy you, General Chen transmitted. We have the power. We understand your weaknesses better than you do. But that's not why those visitors chose us. They chose humanity because we would do this instead. The waters of the Pacific began to shift and change as quantum-engineered structures rose from the depths. But these weren't weapons or defenses. They were monuments, libraries, and archives. Each structure contained the preserved knowledge and cultural heritage of a civilization the harvesters had thought lost forever. Quantum resonance at maximum stability, Dr. Wei reported. Cultural integration patterns holding steady. It's working exactly as we theorized. The harvester ship's quantum drives began to pulse in synchronization with Earth's defense grid, not by force but by choice. They were experiencing something beyond their comprehension. The resurrection not of individuals, but of entire civilizations' worth of knowledge and understanding. This is humanity's gift to the galaxy, Jessica transmitted. We took quantum technology and asked not how it could destroy, but how it could preserve, how it could teach, how it could transform. The quantum web began to release its hold on the harvester ships, not out of weakness, but as a demonstration of trust. The ancient visitors had given humanity quantum technology because they had seen this potential, the ability to turn tools of war into instruments of resurrection and growth. You have a choice, General Chen announced to the harvester fleet. Continue as you have, harvesting worlds, and leaving nothing but quantum echoes behind. Or join us in something greater, the preservation and combination of all knowledge, all culture, all understanding. The harvesters' response came not in weapons fire or attempts to flee, but in a massive data transmission. They were sharing their own history, their own journey from creation to conquest. They had forgotten their own beginnings, lost in millennia of taking without learning. Integration protocol accepting new data stream, Sarah Wei reported, her voice filled with wonder. They're offering themselves to the synthesis. The quantum web flared one final time, not as a weapon or a shield, but as a cradle for something new. Humanity had succeeded where the ancient visitors had hoped they would. They had found a way to turn quantum technology from a tool of destruction into a means of resurrection and growth. "Welcome," Jessica transmitted to the harvester ships, "to humanity's greatest creation. Not the end of conflict, but the beginning of understanding." Above Earth, the harvester ships began to change, their quantum drives resonating with the combined knowledge of dozens of civilizations, including their own rediscovered history. They had come to Earth expecting to find another world to strip bare. Instead, they had found something unprecedented, a species that had spent a century preparing not for war, but for transformation. The age of harvest was over. The age of synthesis had begun. In the depths of the Pacific Command Center, Commander Chen looked up at the quantum displays showing the transformation of their former enemies. "Why did you really choose us?" she whispered, wondering if somewhere those ancient visitors were watching. The answer came not in words, but in the quantum resonance that now connected Earth to the combined knowledge of dozens of civilizations, because only humanity would look at the ashes of dead worlds and see not an ending, but a new beginning. The stars above Earth glowed with new possibility, as humanity prepared to share its greatest innovation with the galaxy, the understanding that true power lies not in taking, but in transforming, preserving, and combining. The quantum web that had been built for defense now served as the foundation for something greater, a network of knowledge and culture that would ensure no civilization's legacy would ever be truly lost again.